Talofa, Matua here with Lau Aganuu Faasoa. So I want to share a personal story. My first meeting as a brand new talking chief. And the meeting was the family council, right? The council of Matai at the family level. And so it was my very first meeting. So I went to the meeting, and with my military background, of course, I was there 15 minutes prior. And those of you that have military background, you know what I'm talking about. And given, the Samoan time, we're never on time, right? So I'm there, first one there. And the only ones who were actually there was the Sa'o of the family, a high talking chief, and then the senior Matai that is his senior advisor, which is my other uncle. So they're both my uncles. So I walk in there and I sit down. Back then, this is 1999, we're still sitting down on mats, right? So I sat down and I looked over, and the senior advisor, he formally welcomes me, right? The Fatulima, right? He says, "Yeah. So pomairi la kofa matunalua." And I just sat there and I was like, oh my goodness. In my mind, I was like, what is the proper response here? I had no idea. I was like, man, start thinking, I was like, man, my mom didn't tell me anything, my dad, no one told me anything. They just said, go to the meeting, right? So here I am. Here comes the formal welcoming, and I sit there and I just looked over and I just nodded my head and I said, "Malo." And I was smiling and I was chuckling a little bit, and then my uncle goes, the one who welcomed me, he goes, "Oi, sole. Pape kari ki fia makai ke loa faisekala. Anga ko e makavalea." And then the Sao, he starts laughing. And he's just like, "Oh, fai fuaka maiki me sili la wo mai. Ka kula hin." And I said, I was embarrassed. Wasn't that all that bad because none of my fellow Matais were there? But just me personally, right? I took that to heart, right? I was a little pissed. But I think, I look back to it and I thank my uncle for saying that, because he lit a fire. He lit a fire in me that day. And I had these thoughts that were just overwhelming my mind at the time. Thoughts of the challenge, right? And I kept saying to myself, oh, so you guys, see how this is exactly how I was thinking. And I got no shame putting it out there, right? Because this is part of being real about everything, right? My thoughts were, oh, so you guys being here from Samoa, born and raised, think that us, born and raised from the States, can never learn this. That was like the challenging statement that kept going like this, like a billboard type thing in my head. They think you can't learn this. They think you can't learn this. And so ever since then, it has been my mission to learn and to be proficient and to be able to go heads with the best of them. Now look how long ago that was, 1999, right? Fast forward to today, I give God all the glory for his many blessings and for my journey and those who I've come in contact with, who became my mentors on this art, on this journey of being a tulāfale. Some of them my cousins, my brother-in-laws, and that's just been the journey ever since that day, right? And even though I felt the way I felt, but if it wasn't for my uncle to tell me that, like straight up, those guys back in the day, and that's their way of showing love, right? Oh, walang makufay ako lelofa. And sometimes you're like, lofa, man, it hurt my feelings. Ya lelofa nga sa mo, lelofa mongi. Inga lelei o ya, and look, or the this is the result, right? So that's what you call the love of words that are just straightforward, right? And the result after the equal sign is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit there and pout and go in the corner and cry about it? Or are you going to do something about it? Right? So I share that to let everyone know out there that may have experienced that, something similar, or you may be going through that right now, right? That you don't even want to go to the meeting because something like that may happen, right? You don't want to show up until you know someone has been selected already to do the job or to speak, and then you can like walk in and like, oh, yeah, and you're kind of there, but you're not there, right? So that was an encouraging moment for me, like, kind of like in disguise, right? I had to peel that back a little bit. Those thoughts were immediate in my mind, but figuring out what to do with it wasn't immediate yet. It came later on. A couple months after that, I was kept challenging myself, right? And it wasn't like, just jump right into the fire pit, like, yeah, let's do this, right? No, it was still very, very difficult, very hard. Just trying to get after learning, finding someone who's willing to like share, and so that was that was quite an experience that helped jumpstart my journey with being a talking chief. So it kind of paved the way. And it paved the way to where the fire was always there. Along the way, it'll diminish a little bit, right? Depending on what I was doing at the time. And then there'd be some instances where it'll light back up, right? Depending on what I'm doing with my life. And wherever you go, once people know that you've been installed a Matai title, they will always remember, and they will always acknowledge you. They will always render those honorifics that you deserve because of the honor that comes with your title. And so we have to step up. We have to step up to the plate, and we have to perform. We have to represent, and we just have to put in the work. Regardless of how tough it may be at the beginning, you might stumble here and there. But the main thing is that you're there, and that you're trying, right? A lot of us don't want to bring shame to our families, don't want, you gotta be perfect. I'm here to tell you, if you're seeking perfection, you're never going to find it. And I think all the chiefs out there will agree that there's no one out there that's perfect. No one out there that knows everything, right? Kalalasi la tunu, kaufi ese foi la tunu, ya mais ese foi mau. O kaufia la fanga, o aiga, o nguu. So, you just gotta show up. You gotta put in the work, and you gotta represent, right? So, if you're in that situation, that's why Lau Aganuu Faasoa exists. Having our first session, 7 June, which is coming up soon. We'll be discussing. We're going to kick it off with 3 topics here. First one being the historical and cultural significance of Matai titles, and that's like, why do we have the titles? Right? Go a little bit over the history, and why are they so significant? Why are they so important? The other topic is responsibilities and expectations of a talking chief. Right now that you're a talking chief, what are the expectations? What are your responsibilities to your family, to your village? What are those responsibilities if you're part of a congregation at church, right? And then the third one would be the importance of oratory in Samoan society. Why is the art of tulāfale so important in Samoan society, right? Why is our art so important? Sometimes when someone gets up and speaks at an event, if it's siliara o makukua lo makumko, I say makai lo kama, I say makai, because that's the way they look at it. Ale makai ga kai, ele kaung kau kalangi me and that's the way us as Samoans look at when we're doing traditional things. Usually the talking chief is the leader of those things, and it all begins with the art of the Samoan oratory. Nanga e kakau nga whaawheloa I kangaka, e upo e whaawheloa I e kakau whaing whaalangi po ia, o lo sasao le mauka, po le lawa, po whele mea, po le malai. So you just don't get up and just say whatever that's on your mind, right? So that's why our art is so important, because once people hear the Samoan oratory, the significance of those analogies, it reminds us, there's protocol to how Samoans live, right? When you hear those expressions that orator is using to express how that person is feeling on behalf of who he's speaking for, and for everyone who is present, using those analogies to express the feeling of today, the feeling of this morning, the feeling of this event. Very significant, very important. Fika kule ale ile mena ale ile faiva le kulāfale e pe ule kaua se mea pe o faifua se mea. So ole kaua ngā kako faiva. That's how important it is. Those are the 3 topics that we will kick off on June 7th. And we got many more throughout the coming months. And the way I look at Lau Aganuu Faasoa is we don't want to be too rigid, right, with a set list of topics, right? We want to go with the flow and the energy of those who are present in the discussions. If some of these topics are not in alignment with the interests or what we want to talk about as a group, then of course, again, we don't want to be too rigid. We want to be able to, to maneuver and to move towards the energy and the interests of the group, right? So if there's a trend that you guys would like to discuss, if there's a question or if there's an event that just happened in Samoa or in California or wherever that's a lot of people are talking about, Lenga fight whakau, isi vanga, lenga, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, let's do that. You know, this is not a place to where we have to just stick to a topic as if we're not able to flow, right? We want to flow. We want to flow where the energy takes us. The main point is that for all of us to come together and to learn, to provide a platform for us to learn and to share. No one, you know, we don't want to put anyone on the spot that you have to perform during these sessions or anything like that. If you want to, you know, by all means, but yeah, there's no pressure on doing any of that. The whole goal of Lau Aganuu Faasoa is to teach and to learn and to share. And so, yeah, if you're interested, if you're in that boat, or if you're just curious to learn more about your culture as a Samoan, sign up at lauaganuufaasoa.com and join us on June 7th. I'll tell you what this is not. So what this is not is a Samoan language course, right? Where if you don't know how to speak Samoan, then we're gonna teach. No, this is more, a little bit more up for those who are talking chiefs, or those who inspire to be talking chiefs, or those who just want to learn more about that art, roles and responsibilities, and about the Samoan culture. That's what Lau Aganuu Faasoa is all about. But there's many platforms out there that'll teach learning Samoan language, like from the alphabet, you know, on up. But we won't be doing none of that here, so it's a little bit more advanced. So just wanted to share that. Let me know what you think about that story. Do you have a story that's similar to that, or how was your experience? Go ahead and comment below. If you like what we're doing here, please like this video, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.